Boy, core, huh?
Yeah.
Wait till I bring the other one.
I think that's the first time you've used it.
It might be the last, too.
It is gonna be.
Call the meeting order, North County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016. Rise and lead the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the best I've ever heard the pledge of allegiance given by this board. There are usually commas and no commas and. Roll call.
Oh, yeah.
Something's not working.
Yeah, wake it up.
Wake it up. I thought you were ready.
We're still not going here.
I do it by voice.
Okay, I'm not here.
None of us are back.
I didn't think you liked the new system.
Well, actually, she's got a standing bet with the, on the length of the meeting.
Like he'd know how.
Oh, Mark, did you help him?
No, I never helped.
For you that don't know, they have a bet on who's gonna, how long the meeting's gonna last, see?
What's the prize?
Lunch.
Well, I think he sabotaged it.
Which one of us gets to help you sabotage it to get lunch?
4 scores. And
He could follow the Senate's rule and just simply cancel it.
there we go.
Go on, no, not quite. 2 minutes.
3.
So I guess she's betting on the longer meeting.
Doesn't sound like it. It must be sabotage.
The whole thing, most important, whatever, it's gonna be a meeting.
So he's helping you sabotage it more.
Now you see, the longer I take, then I'm gonna win.
And you can always say Ken did it.
See?
I thought it was the other way around.
Remember when they had to do the roll call, like calling out your neighbors? You over by now?
We get Kim done?
Well, if all the machine.
Hey, Joe.
There. It's work, it's working.
Sure.
We're done.
Oh, look at that.
What do you know?
They could have called her over.
It's a conspiracy.
Good job, Jill.
3 out, yes. We have a quorum of 11, voters present 17, 4 absent.
Really?
Leno's
here.
here.
17.
Wait a minute, Leno was absent? Somehow I see him.
Lena,
Well, he was kinda.
we're gonna try it one more time. Now
I'm
we
out
have
there
to go
today.
back out and go back in, we'll have to do it again.
You know, I've only been here for 4 years almost, and this is the worst you've been at this. So you obviously have something going on we don't know about.
This is spelled efficiently.
Oh, you better get.
And it's cost you 4 minutes now.
Yeah, we take it off the clock.
Boy,
All right, let's.
10 demerits to you.
All right. Oh, that's the whole page.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda.
We haven't had roll call yet.
Second?
We're not present yet. Okay, now mine, oh, there it is. Are we supposed to do it
Come on,
again?
Dave.
Yes, please do it again.
Okay.
Kathy, come on.
Well, I wasn't too sure if she was magically appearing.
Lino?
Just throw. You can hit the target with it.
Mr. Fisher?
You gotta punch your buttons.
I'm hitting it. It took it before, but now it won't. There we go.
There we go.
John, that's John out there.
All right.
You're up there. 18 present, 3 absent. Got through that. John's not here. Motion of the agenda, Mark Miller, seconded by
Second.
Dick Haynes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That has passed. Correspondence in your packet is unassigned fund balance. Has anybody got any questions on it? If not, public comment. Anybody in the public want to comment? Go ahead. Yeah, if it isn't a political speech, I hope.
Right away, you've lost 4 minutes already.
Yeah. That was your-
Boise?
I can't take as long as it did to do roll calls. Anyway, we're out of session now, so there's not anything really new to report to you as far as things coming up. Although I will say the shoreland zoning,
Say your name and
Oh.
people that.
Joel Kitchens, I'm the 1st District Assemblyman. Anyway, as far as the shoreland zoning, though, I will say that I know you guys would have preferred that be kept, in your hands, I guess, but I will say that through the work of Grant and Mariah and several community members and myself, and working with the author of the bill, there were several amendments made that I think addressed the most problematic parts of it, specifically for Door County. So in the end, I don't think it really is a problem for us. I just want to say next week, I know I'm due to meet with your legislative committee with Susie, and what I'm doing in my off time, after the session is, what my office is doing, I should say, is working towards some legislation for the next session so that we're ready to go. One thing I learned this time is that if you don't introduce things immediately, it gets really difficult at the end to get them passed because it's a pretty short session. So I want to be able to hit the ground running and introduce things right away. So if there are things that you would like to see addressed, whether it's in the budget or through legislation, being reasonable, of course, bring them to me or to Susie, and we can talk about those. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment? Oh, John Kaloji.
Thank you. Included in your packet today is Resolution 2016-17, which is to designate the week of April 11th through the 15th as Work Zone Awareness Week in Door County, and that's actually on a statewide basis. And this is really part of a public awareness campaign to keep our workers safe in construction zones. Some of the information in the resolution includes the number of accidents that occurred on a national basis. There were 1,600 accidents, 720 injuries, and 8 fatalities. Those are averages that are included on a nationwide basis in construction zones. In 2015 alone, there were 3 deaths alone of county highway workers killed in the line of duty working in construction zones. So this is very important that you support this documentation. Wanted to also recognize and thank the legislature and Joel for support of a new law that is making it illegal for the use of cell phones in construction zones in Wisconsin. So thank you for your support.
Is there anybody else that'd like to comment? If not, does anybody have any supervisor's response? If not, we're going to back up to correspondence. I forgot the history lesson for today. This is from Door County Board, November 27th, 1933, or actually November 24th, 1933. And have the Sheriff's Department and the Highway Department to pay attention to this. Whereas it is the law of this state, this is a resolution, by the way, whereas it is the law of this state that all persons sentenced to the county jail shall be provided with suitable work by the sheriff, and for that purpose the county jail is extended to any place in the county where such work is provided. And whereas for several years on account of the depression, the sheriffs have been unable to find work for such prisoners, and whereas section 56091 Wisconsin statutes provide that the county board may establish a rock pile and all male prisoners, unless physically unable or employed at other work, be employed in breaking rock, now therefore it be resolved that this board would respectively request the county highway commissioner and county highway committee to cooperate with the sheriff in providing work for the person sentenced to the county jail, and be it further resolved that the County Highway Committee is hereby authorized, if necessary, to provide a rock pile and necessary tools in order to discourage indolent persons getting into jail and having an easy time at the expense of the taxpayer. Adopted 24/1933.
There's such a thing.
Has that ever been rescinded?
I don't know. It's kind of interesting, I think. Lori's the one that finds these, by the way. Anyway, moving on. Motion to, Monty, report from the,
Sure. Just, maybe just two items to go over. On your desk, we provided just two things, just because obviously on April 19th is the next county board meeting along with our orientation. So what we did is Grant found some resources from us from WCA in terms of the training. Again, this packet, this gives a general overview of what occurs and some of the roles and so forth, this for education material. So that's just an FYI for you guys to look at and just kind of go through. The next item, just to help facilitate the meeting for next month, is we have a form that's also provided to you. And what it is, it's this an interest form for serving on the various committees. And again, it shows you the committees that have regular monthly meetings highlighted in yellow, and then also the other committees that don't meet quite as often. And then you'll see the committee name, and then off to the right is the actual size of the committee that's in the parentheses. I guess what we're asking you to do is if you could fill this out and turn it in. If you have time today to turn it in, I appreciate it. If not, if you get into us as soon as possible. What we will do is just compile this onto a single form that can be used for the meeting on the 19th. Staff's not going to do anything with it as far as assigning committees or something like that. That'll be up to you, obviously. But all we're trying to do is just to gauge your interest and then also help at the meeting just to help facilitate the creation of the committee. So if you have time to fill this out, we appreciate it, and you can get it back into us, and we'll work with it that way. And then likewise, for the individuals that are, depending on the results of the elections, we'll obviously send this out to other individuals that would be new that can obviously submit these and get those into us.
Don?
Yes, the size of the committees that are on this piece of paper, is that going to be the same size?
That will be up to the county board at the organizational meeting. The consensus of the admin committee was just to leave them the way they were. So, but that'll be entirely, as you know, that's what happened last time. They changed it at the organizational meeting, so. And it would be nice that you fill them out today, by the way.
And turn them into who?
You can turn them into me or turn them into Lori.
Thank
And
you.
we'll compile them all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, motion to approve the minutes of February 23rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, second by Randy, made by Helen, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. I know, no pending business or anything, do you? Okay. We'll go to resolution 2016-17. John Ninus, will make a motion to pass her?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second by Don City? Pretty well explained by John Kaloji. Does anybody have any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. Resolution 2016-18, proclamation Travel and Tourism Week for May 1st to 7th, 2016. I got this in here, and I'll read it now. Therefore, be resolved that the Door County Board of Supervisors does hereby support and promote May 1st to 7th, 2016 as Travel and Tourism Week in Door County, and urges the city of Door County to join in a special observance with appropriate events and communications. Any motion to pass it? By Joel Gunningson, seconded by Kathy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're rolling now, huh? Next one is resolution opposing UW extension reorganization.
I move that we approve that resolution.
Second?
Okay, we got them. You want to explain it, Roy, then?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2016-19. Do you want me to read the whole resolution?
No, just the whereas is, I mean, be resolved, I think.
Just a quick Be it, start with line number 22. Be it now, therefore be it resolved that the Door County Board of Supervisors herein assembled hereby opposes UW Cooperative Extension Reorganization Plan approved by Chancellor Sandee on February 10th, 2016. And the essence is that line number 34 says, be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to all 72 Wisconsin County Board Extension Education Committee chairs and county extension department heads in Wisconsin Counties Association, county executives and administrators, Governor Walker, President Ray Cross and the Board of Regents, Senator Frank Lacey, Representative Joel Kitchens, Assembly Speaker Voss, and Senate Majority Leader Fitzgerald.
Does anybody have any questions on this? Go ahead, Ken.
What changes were proposed, Roy, that we are against?
Oh.
It doesn't say it in that, and that's,
There's, since January, the Ag Extension Committee has been involved in several meetings, WIS-CAM meetings, is that the Ag Extension is proposing to reduce the number of agents we have in the county, and we would become a consortium with Manitowoc, Kewanee, and Door, and we very likely would only have 2 agents in our county, and then there would be floating agents, plus they would propose to hire an administrator to watch over all of the agents. So what it boils down to is that the extension is saying we are saving money, but we want to hire a administrator to watch over these people working, but we're going to reduce the number of people in your county. So in essence, we're getting fewer services and we're costing the same. What it appears to us is that the extension is trying to put more of their resources in the heavier populated areas at the expense of the rural areas. And they're keeping the same number, if not more, in Milwaukee, Dane, Brown, and I believe it's Waukesha County. And so that's what it appears to us. And our last webinar that we received is that, well, we're going to do it in July, have all this done in July, but now we're looking at 12 to 18 months down the road before this happens. And in the last issue that you received, it was in the last county magazine. We also got emails. It's been addressed in the papers. So it's, in essence, it's simply stating that we're going to get less services in the rural areas and they expect the same amount of contributions.
and the bottom line is hire a supervisor to oversee fewer employees.
Yes, yeah.
The state
Bigger
in its
overhead.
ultimate wisdom.
Yeah, and our administrator and our department head, Rob Burke, both have stated their reservations to the extension service previously, and they're still going on with the whole program yet.
No offense intended to our local elected official there.
Well, it's a departmental decision, but I agree with you guys.
Is there any other questions?
Just,
Go ahead, Paul.
well, just a question, are we aware of other counties that are doing similar things to what we are doing here?
Yes. There's been multiple resolutions passed by other counties opposing the reorganization as well at this point.
And they're all rural?
Most of the actions, yes, have been rural, yes.
Susan?
It's been my observation that we in Door County and probably other rural counties lean very heavily on our extension people. They do a lot, they are around a lot, they bring to us a lot of expertise, and I think this would be a tremendous loss. And I'm wondering if we might reach out to municipalities in our county. I mean, all of us are gonna suffer, and our organizations and our institutions are gonna suffer from not having these kinds of services. And to pretend that somebody located in Manitowoc is gonna be able to serve Door County as well as somebody who's here is really a myth. So if we could.
Okay. Is there any other questions or statements? Helen?
Well, I know that PARS, the Peninsular Agricultural Research Station, is requesting $2,500 from 3 different organizations, one of them being the Master Gardeners, which has kind of thrown a cog in the Master Gardener budget. And that's the first time that they've ever actually requested funding from organizations that use the facility. So, and their staffing is down already. So it's really a rather sad situation because they really do provide a lot of good information to citizens of this county.
Steve?
And isn't the rural areas that need it the most? Is it-
That's what they're saying, basically, yeah. Anybody else? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. We'll go to 2016-20 County Roads and Bridges Fund, transfer non-budgeted fund. This will take a roll call vote and 2/3 to pass, just to let everybody know. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion. We approve Resolution 2016-20, County Roads and Bridges Fund, transfer of non-budgeted funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
What this is every year we either add additional money from the general fund into roads and bridges to cover the cost of maintenance for snow removal, snow protection services. This year, we had allocated 500,000 plus. We used less than that. So this is a authorization to send back to the general fund the $123,098.55. So this year it's going back to us instead of out.
Is there any questions? If not, go to your voter board. Are you ready? Just hold on a second.
Do you need 4 more minutes?
No, we're good. I don't know, well, maybe the second or third vote.
My battery's going.
Mr. Fisher?
Mr. Haynes.
I think so.
Dick Haynes?
Just confirm.
You got to confirm it.
That was Dick.
Okay, that passed 18 yes, 3 absent. Next item is the transfer of budgeted funds, Door County Historical Museum. David, would you like to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion. We pass Resolution 2016-21, transfer of non-budgeted funds to Door County Historical Museum.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mark Miller. Go ahead and explain it a little bit.
I will explain, and Ken can feel free to.
Let Ken do it.
Sure, so again, this is the resolutions written. If you recall, last month, we actually requested funds for a possible LTE, and that was the initial discussion with the museum committee. We did have some individual that's potentially interested in a position. That individual was no longer interested, so we went back and met with the museum committee. And we are, I guess, recommending now, instead of just doing a straight LTE, is actually to go out for an RFP. The ability of, I guess, switching course gives us, I guess, 2 options. In essence, if there's an individual that feels qualified that they can do the work, they can still obviously, quote unquote, bid on the project, similar to an LTE, or we can actually put it out for bid for a firm that actually specializes in the work for doing that. And based on some discussions with some firms, just to get a feel for it, we believe it'll be under the $40,000, which, if you looked at, we talked about last time, would actually be cheaper than potentially an LTE over 2 years. So that's why we changed course, and we're recommending this for, I guess, form of action in terms of moving forward. So in essence, what we'll do, if approved, is we'll put out an RFP to put together a strategic plan for the museum, and hopefully have that done still yet this year, would be the goal.
Is there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
2/3 for that?
Need 2/3.
Oh, I do need, yeah, oh, excuse me, go to your voter board. Because we got to be roll call. I knew that. Yeah. It was unanimous, so.
Mine apparently takes 2 to see that one today. It really doesn't want, can't do
Well,
it.
what's the deal here?
Fisher's gonna throw his.
We got to read. That is passed 18 yes, 3 absent. Next one is non-commercial hangar site lease agreement, Dan's Fish Incorporated, building number 54. Mr. Verley, you want to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2016-22, the commercial hangar site lease agreement for Dan's Fish Incorporated, building number 54.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded by Ken. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passed. Next one is a contract with a number of people. Master agreement with Brown County for CLEC LLC. David Anigo, make the motion and explain all this.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2016-23, contract exceed at 3 years with master service agreement with Brown County CLEC LLC, doing business as Ensite.
I gotta get a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Don City, okay.
Currently, we get connected, if I do this correctly, Tim is in the background. Currently, we are connected to the internet via 50 megabyte connection through the cable company. Insight has come up with this option of, with research, of a 2 gigabyte, basically 40 times that speed capacity at $1,500 monthly. Charter came back with an offer of, I believe it was 200 megabyte at $1,500 also. So what we're looking at is to change our service provider, our connection to the internet.
Okay.
And if Tim can expand on that.
Does anybody got any questions? Go ahead, Roy.
Yes, page 34 of 41 says it's $1,500 one-time charge. There, I read it as just playing once $1,500. I'm hearing that it's going to be $1,500 a month?
I would agree with you that initially when I read it, it implied one thing, but I knew it was supposed to be $1,500 per month.
Okay. Does anybody else got any questions?
Well,
Don City.
That being said, I'll ask Grant, do we need an amendment to that situation or not?
No, it's $1,500 a month for 60 months.
It does, though.
There is a one-time fee of $1,500 too.
There's a one-time fee for startup and configuration of $1,500, and then it is $1,500 a month, and it is budgeted in this year's budget.
Thank you, Tim. Any other questions?
Thanks for the clarification.
Doesn't say that anyplace in there.
Directly above that, it does say total monthly charge.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That is passed. Resolution 2016-24. David Leno,
Thank you,
you
Mr.
got the
Chairman.
big one.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2016-24. It's a resolution authorizing the issuance of a not-to-exceed $9,995,000 in general obligation bonds or promissory notes.
Is there a second? Second by Susan. Go ahead.
Sure, let me just give a brief explanation on this one. Again, this one is, we're not actually, I guess, voting or moving forward with the project. Again, this resolution, what it simply does is it states that we're possibly looking at doing bonding for the project moving forward. And what it does is it gives us a total number that we will not exceed in terms if we move forward with the bonding. So again, we're not, in essence, today saying we're moving forward with the project or doing anything. We're simply stating that we're interested in potentially borrowing for the project in the future. There'll obviously be other dates in the future where you can actually vote on whether or not we move forward with the project itself. And even moving forward, once we bond, there'll be another resolution and something that you officially vote on in terms of when we would issue those bonds themselves. So again, this is just again stating that you're interested in borrowing funds, not to exceed the amount stated in the resolution itself.
Would you explain why we're doing this now instead of after we've got contracts let or bid?
Sure. Again, when we do bonding, there's really a two-step process. The first one is just to announce your intent, and that's required in terms of moving forward of borrowing funds. And then the second step is actually going through the process of working with the corporation counsel and the consultants in terms of actually setting up the bonding steps themselves. So again, this is just required in terms of the process to move forward, in terms of stating that we may be interested in actually doing the bonding. And again, this is also similar to, I guess, a resolution that we passed last year that allows us to also claim expensive that we've done towards the project if we choose to in the future as well. So it's just a way for us just to follow the procedures in terms of moving forward with the project itself.
Ken?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. in explaining this, you had a lot of ifs in there, but the resolution speaks in absolute. It says we will, because we are going to build. There's no if in here. It is, we have decided, and to my knowledge, we haven't decided. I'm not against the senior center. Right away, I'm going to be criticized and I'm against it, or the ambulance garage. I'm not against it. But we keep hearing that we will have other chances to once and for all decide. But as I read this resolution, it speaks in absolutes. And you're saying ifs. It also says past resolutions, and we passed one that said we would go ahead with the senior center if we got a $1 or $2 million contribution from the Friends of the Senior Center, because that money was promised to us. All of a sudden, that money has disappeared, and now we no longer talk about it. So, and this resolution at the bottom says that resolution, I don't know the number of it, but that would be null and void. So I guess I just would like an explanation here. It doesn't sound to me, if I read this and I was signing this, I'd be on the hook. I'm gonna do this. This isn't like money down on a house that if all my contingencies aren't met, it goes away and I get my money back. This is an absolute.
I'll let Grant answer that because he worked with,
Kind of to set the stage, Ken's correct. At the last, both Kens are correct. Too many Kens. At the last county board meeting, the operative resolution for the Central Ambulance Station and Human Services Resource Center, it's 2016-15, was adopted, and that, if you recall, took a staged approach. As we explained last month, those projects are to come forward to the county board 2 or 3 more times. Currently, we have issued an RFP for design professionals. Those will come back, and we will bring back to the county board the selection for those. Thereafter, it's going to come back to the county board for selection of the contractor to move forward to the project. So the project itself will not come forward unless it comes to the county board 2 and perhaps 3 more times. The resolution that's before you today is the second resolution in a triumvirate that is necessary under the statutes to allow us to borrow for the project, presuming the project moves forward. The language in the resolution comes right from bond counsel. I did work with the outside financial advisors and outside bond counsel. Remember, bond counsel doesn't represent the county. Bond counsel represents the people who are going to be purchasing the bonds, and they assure those purchasers that the bonds have been issued in accordance with state and federal rules. The first resolution we adopted last year is called the reimbursement resolution. As Ken explained, that allows us to reimburse ourselves from the proceeds of any borrowing we do, any expenditures we make from the project. If we had not passed that reimbursement resolution, then there would not have been the ability to go back retroactively and reimburse the county. This is the second resolution. It states a very definite intent to authorize the issuance of not to exceed $9,995,000 in general obligation bonds or promissory notes. Before those bonds are sold or promissory notes executed, there will be a third resolution that comes back to the county board for the county board's approval. So this is the second step. It does not authorize for anybody to actually issue obligation bonds or sign promissory notes. It's a statement of intent. I don't want to diminish it. It is, as Ken Fisher points out, a very clear statement of intent that as we sit here today, we intend to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds or promissory notes to fund the project, but the underlying presumption is that if the project goes forward. And as I said, the operative resolution for the project was adopted last month. The county board is going to get at least 2, and I don't have the resolution in front of me, so I don't want to say 3, but at least 2 more approvals before the project officially goes forward. This is really more than anything else about timing and compliance with the underlying statutes that we've conferred with outside financial advisors, conferred with the bond counsel, and if we want the borrowing to go forward concurrent with when we expect the contract to be awarded to construct the project, which again is subject to this body's approval, we need to pass a resolution at this time. But it absolutely does not obligate us nor authorize anybody to go out and sell bonds or sign promissory notes. It's just the second step in the three-step process. But I don't want to diminish it. It's anytime you state your intent to borrow almost $10 million, it's a significant event, and that's why a majority vote of this body is required. And that number is a majority, or three-quarters, not majority, three-quarters of the total membership, which is 16. And since we only have 18 here today, we'll have to be pretty much unanimous if it's going to be adopted. So,
Don?
I would characterize this as the train leaving the station and the project will be built.
Ken?
Yeah, I understand what you say, Grant, and I hear you, but you're talking, you're not putting that down on writing. It says here in writing, and we're always told, oh, no, here, it's written here, we have to abide by this, as we did with that $50 rule in changing our pay for the next couple of years. All prior resolutions, rules, or other actions of the County Board of Supervisors or any parts thereof in conflict with the provisions hereof shall be, and the same are hereby rescinded insofar as the same may so conflict. Okay? It tells you right there that the ones you're alluding to, the resolutions you're alluding to that we passed that give us that kick, are null and void. They're gone. They're not there anymore because they pertain to this project.
but this resolution only addresses the funding of the project. It doesn't address the project going forward. And the provision you speak to only applies to resolutions that would impact the borrowing or funding of the project. It doesn't say we're going to actually go forward with the project. It just indicates that the means through which the project will be funded is the issuance of not to exceed $9,995 general obligation bonds or promissory notes. I can say unequivocally it does not authorize the project to go forward. It simply discusses it simply applies to the element of the project with respect to funding if it goes forward. And I know it's not in writing, but it's on tape.
And I'm saying I'd feel much better. I'm not against this, but I wouldn't enter into a contract like this for myself unless that was written on it somewhere, some addendum that spelled it out in black and white on the paper, what you just said, rather than having it taken. And why can't you do that? Does that make this, by putting that in writing, does that degrade this resolution? Take away its bite, so you can't go and look into getting the money?
I quite frankly am reluctant to disturb the language of the resolution because it was drafted by bond counsel and approved by our outside financial advisors and myself, and I would be reluctant to amend it because I am not familiar enough with, which is why we have outside financial advisors and outside bond counsel, with the state and federal regulations that address public entities borrowing, either issuing bonds or borrowing money. But
I don't like it, Mr. Chairman, but I will support it.
Bid?
Well, I'm going to support the resolution as well, but I think to answer part of Ken's concern is, Grant is right, this resolution before us right now is our intent. But if you look at the resolution we passed last month, where it laid out phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, if things aren't coming up in our favor, you're still going to have more options to stop the project. But if you don't vote for this one today, you're sending us right back to the drawing board and starting over. So Ken now says he's going to support it, and I hope everyone in this room is going to support it, because we want to move forward. And when we get to the end of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, you're going to get more opportunities to see just where we're at and to stay within a budget of what's laid out here of this basically close to $10 million.
Go ahead. I just want to just add two quick things just for clarification too. Again, the intent where now therefore we resolved is pretty clear in terms of how we would do that. It also does state in the whereas that it is desirable. So in other words, even by saying that we're looking at doing bonding, we'll still look at various options for financing of the project itself. So if there's a blended way of actually doing the financing of the project, we can also still look at that. So we're not tying ourselves just to this alternative. Again, it's a procedural step that we need to follow to allow us to state our intent. The second one, just for Don, and just wanted to clarify, just because I know at the last meeting, there are, again, just for clarification, as Biz had stated, there is opportunities in terms of our phase 1, phase 2, in terms of what we're going to bring back to you, in terms of saying, okay, for example, phase 1, we're going to have about 40% of the design done and a new cost estimate done for the project. You'll have an opportunity at that point in time to actually go on to, are we going to go on to phase 2, or no, do we need to stop? So I don't think this is, again, the train leaving the station in that sense, because there's, with the other resolution, you're going to have those opportunities to vote on what's going forward on the project. Again, this is, I think, just showing again how you're considering financing the project itself. So I just want to clarify that.
Steve?
Grant, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this so that the possible bond buyers can start doing their research and deciding if they would want to put their hat in and buy this?
That's part of it. I think more to the point, it's so that our outside financial advisors can work with bond counsel to lay the framework to move forward to pay the cost of the project at the point in time that the county board gives its final approval for the project to go forward. And again, I can't stress this enough, it's a procedural requirement, and it's also, as you allude to, about timing, so that if the project goes forward, we are in a position to issue the bonds or sign promissory notes to have the money readily available to fund the project.
Okay, any other questions? David?
What, excuse me, what is the timing to make bonding occur?
Okay, so I'll give you, the best I can do is just give you a hypothetical, because it all depends on how the project moves forward and on your approvals. So we have the project out to get an architect on board. We're estimating approximately about 5 months for that work, design work to be done. So during that period of time, there'll be an initial report from the architect. That'll be your, I guess, your phase 1 decision, about 40% design. Then you go into phase 2, which takes you into the completion of the design and also your bid documents. And again, that'll take you to approximately, say, October. In October, it'll come back to you for a vote on, do you want to take the project out for bid? Once you do that, when you go out for bid, we'll be going out, probably that next phase for that resolution to actually go out to take those. Now, how are we going to finance the project? And if we are going to do bonds, that'd be the same time that you work with your bond counsel now in terms of putting together the project description and actually being able to put all together those documents that Steve mentioned to actually go out and begin to sell the project that you can actually sell in the market. So you're probably looking at October is when you're looking at the resolution for something like that, and then it goes out to the market, and then usually it's the month afterwards is when they're sold in between there. And then you actually accept the bonds after that. So if everything comes in alignment and everything comes in line, that'd be a sample. And it all depends if everything aligns in terms of moving forward. But that'd be a sample moving forward.
Thank you.
John?
Does this impede the county from using some of the money out of their undesignated/surplus fund to lower the price on it?
Nope, and actually, that's actually a great question, because again, the way the resolution's written, it's written as not to exceed. So what we're stating up front is that we're not going to exceed that amount, but we can bring that down as much as we can is our goal.
And again, that goes back to the reimbursement resolution. We've reserved to the discretion and judgment of the county board to reimburse amounts that are expended prior to the borrowing, but you're not obligated to, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ken?
Just one quick one. It's $9,995,000. What triggers tripped at 10 million that you didn't make it an even number?
It's whether or not they can be tax exempt bonds or not, and we don't want to go over that amount.
Anything else? Well, we'll go to the voter board, it's gonna take, remember.
Remember, take 16 out of the 18 for it to pass.
We could have some fun.
Ken?
Come on. You know, when I'm up here like this, you don't have to say Ken. You know I'm doing it, okay?
That is passed unanimously, 18 with 3 absent.
I know.
Okay, moving on to resolution, speed limits.
Ordinance.
John Ninus. You wanna make a motion?
Yeah, I make motion to adopt ordinance 2016-05.
Second.
Who got
Give it to
Roy. Roy, that's a second. Get the highway department. You wanna explain it?
Well, to make a long story short, is this will allow our highway commissioner to post lower speed limit signs in a work zone area a lot faster than normally is required. Normally, to lower speed limit, you have to jump through all the hoops with the state and go through all the statutory. This will allow him to post the speed limit signs lower at a faster time, making a safer situation for our drivers and for our workers. That's all it amounts to. Let's get them signs out there sooner and make the road safer. That's the small explanation. Mr. Colodey's back here if you want a bigger one.
Does anybody have any questions on it? If not, we have to go to the voter board. That's right.
I knew that was gonna come back. Here I am again.
Come on, you two game. Come on.
Jeez, come on, you two.
You want to use mine?
Why don't you walk up
My
and walk?
vote's yes.
You want to use mine?
Come on, one more time.
I don't think the harder you.
Well, what the heck?
You have to retrain them every.
What's funny is we keep hearing the beep, but it's not.
You're in, you're done.
That's passed
the
18
meeting
yes,
until longer.
3 absent.
I've already.
Jill's been planning that one, huh?
On both of
Who's
them.
ahead right now?
There's 2 buttons to push. It's just too technical for me.
We're going too fast.
You are an elected official, you know.
Okay, the amendment to carrying concealed weapon, someone would like to make a motion to put that on the floor and then.
I'll make a motion to adopt that ordinance, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by David. Grant, you want to explain it?
Very briefly, 2015 Wisconsin Act 149, which went into effect on February 6, 2016, says now that concealed knives and switchblades are permissible without a concealed carry permit, which was previously the case. So it's necessary for us to amend our county code to reflect that change.
Shit, I've been in trouble all these years.
Does anybody have any questions on it?
Does it count if it's an electrician's knife?
Voter board again. We have to have a roll call vote, so we'll use the voter board. Quit stalling.
Sorry. Well, I figured she had it by now. All right. Good job, Ken.
He must have shook up the battery in there.
I did.
Oh, the other ones aren't working right now.
Susie.
I know, I've done it about 10 times.
Ken passed it on to
The
you.
gremlin has jumped.
Yeah, first you have to hit yes or no. You
I
can
did.
never-
I did.
It has to highlight first.
There you
before
go.
There we
You can
go.
hit confirm as much as you want when it's graying. It's not like-
I did.
That is passed, 18 yes, 3 absent.
She's only been here for almost 4
You
years.
should talk to Kenny, he knows how to do it fast.
Yeah, one morning.
I went away
Most
from
common
that 20
names
see if they have
I've
one, too.
read.
Okay, next one is a denial recommendation with RPC. Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Deny it.
Okay, would you like to explain it?
Sure. Here, the request is being, line 14, the request is being made so that the owner may establish a new multiple occupancy development in the center of the 12.17 acre parcel. A multiple occupancy development is not allowed in the single-family residence 20,000 zoning district, but is allowed by conditional use permit in the recreational, commercial, or RC zoning district. We discussed that, and they had come before us for the conditional use permit also, but didn't get them because we turned the zoning amendment down. What we did, and it's listed on the bottom here, number 2, the applicant has a sufficient amount of land available which allows for an alternative project to be established which is reasonably similar to what is being proposed. So they were able to facilitate their goal or proposal without us changing the zoning. And that, to change the zoning would have upset the neighbors, and the applicant was in favor of that once we pointed that, the changes out to him that they could make.
Okay, so a yes vote is to deny it, correct?
Yes.
Accepting the report.
Is accepting the report.
Has anybody got any questions?
A yes vote is for accepting the report this time around.
That's correct. Well, it doesn't go any further.
To deny.
A yes vote is to accept the
Of the
denial.
report.
Right. And that kills it right there.
That's right.
Is there any other questions? Go to the, we have to have a roll call, so go to the vote.
No.
Let's get this now.
Okay, there was the yes.
Did you lose already?
There's the, yep, he's done.
Depending on how we discuss it.
Oh, it jumped back to Ken.
Kenny's got the bug again.
You look
There we go.
That is passed 18 yes, 3 absent. Are there any special reports?
Yeah, I'd like to report that my gizmo is not working, and I'd like somebody to look at it over the next month and make sure it does work.
Ken,
On the 19th.
the writing will have to worry about it.
Oh, the writing.
Is there any new business? Oral committee reports? Go ahead, Susan.
Actually, I just wanted to let the members know, if they don't already, Representative Kitchens referred to it. Our legislative committee meeting this month is Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the Chambers Room. And our goal in meeting with Representative Kitchens is just to talk about final questions with regard to legislation that was proposed, that was passed, that maybe didn't pass, but we don't know what the prognosis for it is, and things that he sees coming up in the fall. So just kind of to go over the whole legislative session, anything he's worked on for us, and those kinds of things. So you would obviously, if you're interested, please join us.
What is the date?
The 29th, which is Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Any other oral committee reports? Has anybody got any questions on the minutes of the committees? Go ahead,
Chairman,
Ken.
did we do number 9, the minutes of February 23rd?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did do that?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Boy.
He missed that one.
You were working on your remote at the time.
Any review vouchers, claims, and bills? Anybody got any questions? The next regular meeting is April 19th, 9 a.m. Correct, Joel?
Yep.
And the Door County Economic Development Annual Investors is Thursday, April 7th. The deal is that the county will pay for your meal, and that's it. And you got to sign up yes or no today after the meeting. Correct?
You say so.
I said so.
Remind me, is there something else going on later on that day also?
RPC.
Our issue, yeah.
Mr. Fisher, I'm waiting for you.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no further business to transact, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Second by Steve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Your last official motion?
I was gonna say.